Hey, it's me, Hrishikesh, Kannan, popularly known as Hrishikesh. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and hit the bell icon now to get the latest videos and get taken into a world of entertainment, culture, sport, business, and current affairs.
Kanishk as well sent us all a large folder with a lot of information. I mean, documents to read, videos to watch from all aspects. For me, because I'm playing the pilot, it was more pilot-centric, where experiences of pilots talking about their own experiences, what they're thinking, what's going through their minds when in the middle of a dogfight. What are the minute, like instant kind of reactions you have to take. So the unfortunate thing was, because we had the pandemic and stuff like that, we didn't get to travel, to go and spend time and work with simulators and stuff like that. We did want to do that. I tried to find like a easy cop out where I downloaded a game which was like a flight simulator, just to get these little things you do as an actor to kind of get yourself convinced that you can play this part.
Armaan, Manish, wonderful to see you guys. And it's a rain-soaked day, but it really feels good to see your smiling faces. How are you doing?
Very well, Hrishi. Very well. Nice to see you too.
Such a pleasure to talk to you. I have to say on camera, as I said before we started, that we met a few years ago, and I've always really looked forward to being interviewed by you. And I'm glad it's happening after you've seen some of our work. So it's a double whammy.
Thank you. You're very kind. So, the good people at Disney Plus Hotstar were kind enough to show Select Media 2 episodes. And I have to say, I came away totally gobsmacked, not just because of the performances, but really the special effects are right up there. I mean, one only thinks of Top Gun. And if we manage to do it here in India, I think it's a matter of national pride. Have you seen anything as yet, Manish? Or do you have only my word to go by?
I'll go by your word.
Well, good. I hope you get shown stuff soon, but amazing stuff. So, Armaan, I want to start with you. And kudos to your performance, because the first thing I thought of, and no disrespect to my friends from Dune School, to my friends who are Doscoites, but I said, spoiled brat from Dune School. These very well-behaved public school boys.
Absolutely, yes.
They're excellent in studies, they're excellent in sports, but they're a little brattish.
Yep.
So they'll come back home for the holidays, and poor day scholars like me, who don't get to go to public schools, will welcome them back and play in the building. But in the building, they're the alpha males.
Yeah.
That's what you reminded me of. Was that anything like what your director or your writer told you was supposed to be like?
I'm so happy to hear that, because that is exactly what the intention was. The bratty side wasn't too difficult, because I've been a bit of a boarding school brat myself. So I just had to tap into that. But, I'm so glad you noticed that, because that's really who Viraj is. He is this kind of brat who's extremely talented, but yet, not an underachiever because of his own issues of, his own kind of past weighing him down. So yeah, I mean, I'm thrilled that you caught on to that. And yeah.
Let's ask the other public school boy, Manish Chaudhari, what he thought of your performance.
Yes.
St. Paul's Darjeeling, right?
A long time back.
But please, sir, you must answer this.
So you have to answer on a scale of 1 to 10 how good he was as the public school brat.
Oh, I'd give him a high 9.
Don't make me blush.
Wonderful. Manish, playing any officer from the forces, whether it's the Navy or the Air Force, the Army, immediately brings that sense of pride the moment you wear the uniform. But let's go a little beyond the uniform here. Obviously, a man who's troubled, who has a bit of a past, and here he is confronted with the likes of Armaan's character, having this superhuman task at hand. Do you do backstories? I mean, most guys from the theater do that, or are you more like an instinctive performer who says, "Let me just go with the flow"?
No, I don't think I've ever gone with the flow. No, I like to prep. Yeah, I always feel that any character that you play has to be made. It has to be created. It does not exist before you make it. Of course, it exists somewhere in some corner of the planet, but you're not about to go and meet them. they could be living in Sao Paulo in Brazil, and how are you going to go there? So any character has to be, I think, created, and it requires the work that it requires. And I try to do as much as I possibly can to do that.
That's wonderful. There are these very, very powerful scenes, Armaan, between Regina's character, you. Again, she might be an unknown entity in the north of the Vindhyas, little known now because of Rocket Boys, but she's phenomenally successful down south.
Absolutely.
And you must have enjoyed your scenes with her.
Oh yeah, tremendously. I mean, Manish sir, of course, but Regina as well. And like you said, I haven't seen too much of her work. Rocket Boys was came out during the process of us shooting this, so I hadn't seen much of her work. But you just know, right, when you're with like someone who knows what they're doing on day one. So I mean, and I just get like I'm extremely excited when I get to work with good actors, and I think on this one I've been really blessed to have a lot of work with Regina, a lot of work with Manish sir, and it just makes your job easier because you have someone who's just giving you so much. And it almost makes you just have to be present and be receptive and kind of, take it from there, So yeah, it was an immense pleasure, and I was really lucky to work with her, And she's tremendously good in the show. I have seen snippets here and there, unlike Manish sir, but so yeah, I think she's brilliant. And of course, what I saw on set was amazing as well.
And Manish, likewise, the little bit that I've seen, whenever Makarand and yourself walk into a frame together and you have that kind of interplay, it just makes for some unique magic. And that's what the writing is all about, isn't it? I mean, here are two people from totally different backgrounds, Mac's character and your character, and you're here to serve the nation. How is it when you do scenes with Mac? Are there rehearsals before, or do you say, let's do a take and then we'll do takes 2, 3, 4, and so on and so forth?
So, Mac and I go back like 30 years.
Yeah.
And Mac and I have never worked together, like never before Shoorveer. And we were kidding about that, joking about that on set, saying, yeah, I mean, 30 saal lag gaye, kya ho gaya ye? But you see, the thing with I always feel that some of the best scenes that are created with actors prepping in their own time for their own parts, and then meeting with their respective works on set to shoot the scene. So in answer to your question, was there rehearsal? No, there wasn't. We were both prepped very well, and we came, and then there was take 2, 3, 4, and then it was done.
With Kanishk, if you get to 4, you're lucky.
Oh, that sounds like a dream for people who like to go home soon.
I mean, I'm not one of those. I would always beg for that extra take, and sometimes he would be like, I'm glad you asked for it, and sometimes he'd be like, I'm using the one from before. So, yeah. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. Samar Khan is one hell of a character, isn't he? I mean,
100%. Yeah.
The never a dull moment when Sam is in the room. But the good part is that because he did go to the National Defense Academy, there must have been a substantial bit of input from him too, apart from the consultants that you had on board. So Armaan, your conversations with Sam, your conversations with some of the other consultants you had on board.
Yeah, so so Samar actually, I had the opportunity to sit with Samar and kind of discuss, and had multiple conversations with him about this before. While I was kind of coming on board and post that as well. Like you said, he has a background and he has a lot of friends and connections in this thing. We had an advisor on the show as well. So yeah, it was. I mean, to me, Kanishk as well sent us all a large folder with a lot of information. Documents to read, videos to watch from all aspects. For me, because I'm playing a pilot, it was more pilot centric, where experiences of pilots talking about their own experiences, what they're thinking, what's going through their minds when in the middle of a dogfight. What are the minute, like instant kind of reactions you have to take. So the unfortunate thing was, because we had the pandemic and stuff like that, we didn't get to travel, to go and spend time and work with simulators and stuff like that, because we did want to do that. I tried to find like a easy cop out where I downloaded a game which was like a flight simulator, just to get these little things you do as an actor to kind of get yourself convinced that you can play this part. So yeah, I was unlike when I was in school, I was a really good student in this regard. I studied all that material. From there, I went on to my own research, which was, YouTube, Google, reading stuff, watching stuff. And yeah, like Manish said, the idea is you prep a lot and then you kind of come to set and you push all that prep aside and then you kind of just be as present as possible, So yeah, and Summer was always there. He's like a, big teddy bear who's like a nice bouncing board whenever you need him. So yeah, and like you said, never a dull moment when Summer is on set. Fortunately, we could get a lot of work done because he wasn't on set too much. So yeah.
Manish, this is actually a question for the writers, and eventually, if I do meet them, I will ask them this. But this stems from a conversation that I had at the US Club with a former admiral in the Navy, and I forget the gentleman's name, but we have this conversation, and he went, you media folk, you think of the Indian Army and the Air Forces as very glamorous, and all your movies are made on the Army and the Air Force, but nobody concentrates on the Navy. And I quickly was racking my brains thinking, oh my God, there was that film on the Navy. And I said, Ghazi Attack was one film. He said, there's one film called Ghazi Attack. But why isn't there equal representation of the Navy? I do believe that there is one naval officer in the Hawks, but I just like your opinion on this. I mean, as a movie goer, as a watcher.
It costs too much money. It's simple. I mean, to make a Navy movie is going to cost you 5 times the amount of money to make an Army movie.
Giant ships.
As simple as that. I mean, that's the answer for that gentleman. I mean, we're very sorry. We'd love to. But it just costs that much money.
Hey, season 2 in the offing, maybe. You never know.
That's a very interesting opinion. Your thought, Armaan. I mean, why aren't we, all of us, media folk, actors, directors, creators, doing, representing the Navy more? Your thoughts?
I mean, I honestly don't know. I would assume, expense is obviously a big factor. We've tried to incorporate, I mean, the show is about bringing together the 3 elements, which is Army, Air Force, and Navy. So there is that element to it, of course. But I don't know, really. I don't know why it's not done. And I feel like there should be. But Ghazi Attack, like you said, is a film I loved as well. And I thought it was brilliantly done. At no point do you feel like, they had some kind of budgetary constraint while making it. I mean, you feel there in that submarine. So yeah, I mean, hopefully. So
they were in the interior of a submarine for most of the film.
That's good.
Yeah, but I mean, Armaan, I think we have to go with Manish's logic. I mean, there seems to be other reason.
Exactly.
You spend enough time in the Hindi film industry, and your logic will kick in
on its own.
And there's only so much I can argue with GC Ranjan. So eventually, it's the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I like Kanishk. He's a wonderful bloke, and but Inside Edge, his show had nothing at all to do with what we're seeing in Shoorveer.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's adapted himself to do a story like this, a thriller of national interest, means that and from the little bit you've just told me that he gave you an entire folder, means he's well prepared, but yet spontaneous enough not to go to take 4.
Yeah.
So just a little bit more about Kanishk, if both of you can give me a reading on him, please.
So when I met Kanishk initially, when I heard as well, when I read the script and stuff after that initial meeting, I mean, he told me what he had in mind, and I was like, okay, this is sounding like, bolne ke liye to theek hai, lekin karna kuch aur hoga. You worry because I hadn't seen Inside Edge wasn't out, Sanak wasn't out. So I was like, but I don't know, are they going to pull it off? And what is it going to be like? So then I went and met him. I sat with his team. They showed me some visuals of, what they're thinking and took me through all of that. And then when I spent some time with him, I was like, okay, this guy is prepared. Like, he knows what he's doing. And I remember calling my agent on day 1 of shoot in Kashmir. And I called him and I was like, okay, listen, this guy knows what he's doing. I was like, whatever happens, I'm in good hands and he knows exactly what he's doing. And that's exactly the thing. So like you said, in terms of performance, maybe he doesn't like to do a lot of rehearsal, but don't think that there was not excessive amount of prep, because the only way you can pull off something like this is with a lot of planning and a lot of prep, because you don't have, like you said, we don't have the budgets of the West. And if you're trying your best to achieve a visual of that caliber, you really, really need to prep and be prepared and, know how to kind of maneuver, what to kind of spend on and what not to. And I think they've just really, really hit the nail on the head with that, and kudos to Kanishk and Summer. for doing that, and Disney, of course.
You want to add to that, Manish?
Yeah, I think it's just, I was thinking about exactly this while filming with him. And I was just thinking how in the last about 3 years or 4 years, I've had the great pleasure to work with some very, very young directors, Kanishk being one of them. And when I say young, I mean they're in their late 20s to mid 30s. That's the age group that's really coming out and speaking their voice out now, with the film and OTT. And they're technically extremely fine, and they're very, very like Kanishk, for instance, has a great amount of confidence in the work that he's done to take the story forward. And what that confidence does for an actor is that then you have, like, I had no problem in just saying, you know what, you want me to jump off that building, I will do it. Just make sure that I'm strapped properly. That's it. So there's no questions. There's no, there's no questions in your head about because there's a sense of belief in his work, and and I mean I'm sort of from the theater, so what the director says goes. I never question it.
Well said.
Also, just to add to that,
Yeah.
is the technical team around him as well. I mean, our DOP Pratik Devra, who's again absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
The visuals, like you said, you take away after watching we all knew that like the visuals have to work. Of course, you need to invest emotionally in the characters and all of that, but it has to. Those two things are like hand in glove in this specific. So Pratik and Kanishk and even our costumes, Ashish, the entire team really just kind of came together, and it was. It was a unified goal, and I really hope that we've pulled it off. Of course, I'm super, super happy to hear you say that you liked it and you felt that as well. But yeah, so it's
suddenly I thought of something. You're right. I mean, when you're in Pune and you're just hanging out in a local bar, often NDA cadets or young officers will walk in from Khadakwasla, and when they're on their downtime, some of the lady officers will be wearing what Regina was wearing,
right.
or some of the young officers would be wearing what your character was wearing. So I thought that was pretty authentic. Now, I'm not an actor, but what I want to know from you, Armaan, is as it is difficult reacting in front of an inanimate object, which is a camera.
Right.
Now, if you ask Tom Cruise this question, he'll say that in both the Top Guns, I got the guys to learn how to fly.
Yeah.
Which you couldn't because you didn't have the logistics to do that.
Yeah.
So when you're in that aircraft, how do you act? I mean, do you use portions of your memory to put yourself in various situations? I don't know. Tell me.
No, so I didn't actually, to be honest, I didn't use so much emotional memory in those situations. It was more imagination and play because, I remember when we were shooting my close-ups in the cockpit, Kanishk had already, like I said, he was extremely prepped. So there was like a detailed shot breakdown of each scenario, each dogfight, what we had to do. And I was in that cockpit for like, I think 1.5, 2 days almost. And, it's a bit stuffy and that all works because it is actually, I had the good fortune of actually sitting in the actual jets. So, when I sat in the actual one as well, it's like, you feel, okay, it's a tight space and these guys are like doing high pressure jobs up in the sky at like insanely high speeds. So yeah, it was more imagination. It was prep, studying. I did watch a lot of footage of, pilots flying. There's a weird kind of dichotomy where I found that, they're very calm in this scenario. So yes, you will get, there is that thing. And unfortunately, like, so we can't, like you said, they could actually fly the jets. But the idea is, it is a high pressure scenario and it will show and it will take a toll on you, but you can't lose your cool because everything, it's like fraction of seconds up there. It's a matter of like taking decisions so quick and it's like life and death immediately. So from that regard, I think it was more about being present and kind of just imagining, not being present, I apologize, but imagining and putting yourself in that scenario. So yeah, and they created an environment where like, we did that. And I really tried to do my best because I'd never done that before where, there's nothing similar to what you're seeing in front of you. And you just have to kind of, create that whole visual. So I hope that it's come through. I'm nervous and excited to see how it's received. But yeah, I did my best. So yeah, now let's see how it goes.
Let's end with real life Shoorveers. I'd like you to pick your choice for real life Shoorveer. I give you a classic example. I just saw this biopic on Major Sandeep Unnikrishnan, who's the hero of the 26/11 Taj attacks. He, he gave up his life for the nation. That to me is a Shoorveer. Would you have a Shoorveer, Manish, in real life?
Well, I looked very closely at a special forces commander who's actually now possibly the most decorated army officer in the army at present. He's a brigadier. He might have gone to the next beyond the next rank. I'm not sure. Maybe become a major general by now. But the videos that I saw of him, I was very, very, very taken with just his attitude to small things. Nothing macho about him. Very, very straightforward, and puts himself in extremely dangerous situations. And his job is to make sure that his unit comes back with the same numbers that it went out. And he will do anything to make sure that no harm comes to his unit. And he was very, very clear about that. And I think I took a lot from that gentleman. Of course, I didn't have the pleasure to meet him, but I read about him and I saw YouTube videos of his speeches. And he had actually a wonderful thing to say, which I kept very close to my heart. In fact, I kept it in my wallet through the series. I think it might still be there. Basically, he has a favorite couplet which he would keep repeating. He'd say, शहीदों के साथ खड़ा होना आसान नहीं होता, जिन्हें इश्क हकीकी हो वही गर्दन कटाते हैं. Just very straight up and very easy. If you got it, you'll go. If you don't got it, don't go. It's as simple as that. Yeah. So that's the Shoorveer for me.
Armaan, you have a Shoorveer? Need not necessarily be from the forces. I mean, anybody like Mother Teresa was a Shoorveer for me.
I mean, to be honest, I was saying this earlier as well. I mean, I do have a specific one. I'll come to that. But I think anyone. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. And I mean, even someone who's just working for the BMC and cleaning the roads. I mean, I think you're doing a massive service to this country, and so. There's Shoorveers are everywhere in every walk of life. I feel like if you're doing something well and you're doing something good, eventually you're benefiting your country. So, but yeah, to come back more specifically to your question, I had the good fortune recently of meeting Vishwas Nagre Patil sir. So he went into Taj during the 26/11, and I had the opportunity to kind of pick his brain and ask him questions and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, again, an inspirational story. He just has a new book out as well. I got his first a copy of that book with his sign, and I'm not one to ever ask people for photos, but I just couldn't help myself, so I asked him for a photo. So yeah, he's a Shoorveer that I recently had the good fortune of meeting.
15th of July, it streams on Disney Plus Hotstar. It's Shoorveer, directed by Kanishk Verma, produced by Samar Khan, Sameer Nair, and stars the excellent Manish Chaudhari, Armaan Ralhan, and a wonderful cast. Please give it a lot of love. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so
Cheers.
much. Hopefully next time.
Thank you.
In person. Cheers.
Yes.